Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing a book tag, which is super fun. Very excited about it. I will be holding my mic today because there's nowhere for me to put it. So sorry about that one. So the book tag that I'm doing today is called the Summer Camp Book Tag. It was created by one of my favorite booktubers, Jessie the Reader. This book tag, we are going to be making a fictional camp. I have gone a completely different way from how Jessie did it, but that's okay. That's the point. That's the point of doing a tag, is to make it your own. I have only been to summer camp once when I was in, I don't even know, maybe middle school, maybe elementary school. I was young and I barely remember it. I went with a friend. It was a church camp. And what I do remember is the church camp I would go to in middle school. No, just high school, I think. For a weekend in the winter. And as somebody who lives in New England, that meant we were freezing and there's snow everywhere. So I've never really been to camp, not in this capacity, so I'm flying by the seat of my pants here. But I decided to make a camp that I would actually want to go to. So the first prompt is campgrounds. What fictional world do you want your camp to be set in? I chose the Abandoned trilogy. It is technically set in the real world. So like the camp is real world, but the reason I chose that one is because it is set it's set on an island in Florida called Isla Huesos, which means Isle of Bones. So it's a little bit creepy, actually, which wasn't necessarily the intention, but it's in the real world, but like the Greek gods and stuff still exist, which is cool. They're real. I just think it's fun. It's like a portal, an entrance to the underworld, and it's specifically, the camp will be on Isla Huesos, so it'll be hot and humid because it's Florida. It's an island in Florida, and I don't know, that feels fitting for summer camp. I feel like I would hate it. I don't love summer, but that was I couldn't think of one. Basically, I was like, everything I read is set in the real world, so what am I gonna pick? So I just chose one where mythology is a thing still, like a real thing. Next is camp name. Find a book title that you think would be a great name for a camp. I chose, again, but better, the idea for my camp, I wanted to do a camp that I would actually, like, in real life want to go to. So I'm calling it Again But Better because I am envisioning that this camp is for adults who either, like me, didn't get that summer camp experience as kids, or it didn't go well, or they just want to relive it. So Again But Better. Next up is our camp flag. This one was really, really hard for me because I read a lot of romance, like cartoon cover romance. And just like so many of my books, I've realized, have people on them, and that's not really what you want to do for a camp flag, I would think. But I ended up choosing Along for the Ride by Sarah Dessen. Sorry, the light is so bright on it. Because it's like, it's a bike. I don't know, guys. Bike riding is obviously going to be something that people at a camp are doing. In the Abandoned trilogy, that is how the main character gets around the whole time. So there's clearly bike paths on this island. I'm imagining a good portion of this island is taken up by this camp, luxury camp, you know? So bike riding is going to be important. There's two people talking over it. Yes, it's supposed to be a romance cover, so they're supposed to be like falling in love, but for our purposes, they can just be forming a nice connection and making a new lifelong friend, which is so hard to do as an adult. So it represents the physical activities we will be doing to get around and connecting with people. This next one is the most fun one, I guess. So this next one is cabin names. Pick 3 random books, flip to a random page of each book, and with the words on those pages, come up with names for 3 different camp cabins. I'm going to try to do this with my eyes closed, but I need one hand to hold the mic, so I can't put my hand over my eyes, or I would, trust me, because I'm going to have to turn away from the camera, alright? Eyes are closed. We'll do a romance first. Ow. I think that was a funny story, though, so. Okay, Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi. let's flip to a random page. Apparently we're going to the end. Fiddlestick Playhouse is the first thing that pops out to me. So what I am thinking right now, there's this sentence: fluttery sundresses, patterned shorts, sunglasses, and iced coffees. I'm thinking iced coffees, but I feel like that's stupid. We're gonna do, overexposed. We're gonna do iced coffees. The Iced Coffee Cabin. Book number 2. Second book I picked, Paper Towns. I did do it blindly. It's on the top shelf. I didn't want to be picking the same genre, and they're split by genre. It was on the top shelf. You couldn't see it. I didn't want to change everything and not be able to get the framing back to where it was. So just trust me. I got Paper Towns, and now we're going to flip. There we go. To a page. I guess we're gonna go with prom. It's that or dance shoes. Maybe we'll do dance shoes. It's the cabin for the dancers. That's what we're gonna do. Dance shoe cabin. Iced coffee cabin. Dance shoe cabin. This is an interesting camp that we're coming up with here. So the last book for a cabin name that I chose, Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Malors. I haven't actually read this one yet. I have absolutely no idea what's going to be in here, but let's do it. Let's flip to a random page. Okay. It's going to be off-Broadway cabin. You'll understand why that works so well in one of the later prompts. So now that we have 3 very weird cabin names, next is camp counselors. For camp counselors, we are choosing 3 characters from books that you think would be a great camp counselor. So the first one that I chose is Miles from Funny Story, right here, and it's Place of Honor. A little bit because I'm in love with him, and a little bit because I just think he'd be fun. He's the kind of person who will, he's a bartender, so he's the kind of person who will listen. He's a people person. He can talk to pretty much anybody. He likes to make things fun, but he's still pretty responsible and caring and all of that stuff. So I feel like he'd make a good camp counselor. The second character I chose is Nessa from Stolen Air by Sophie Lark. I don't have Stolen Air. I read it on my Kindle. It's on Kindle Unlimited. So I don't actually have a copy of it, but I figured I could get away with this because she's in this book, which is another one in a interconnected series of standalones. So I think I can get away with it. She is a dancer. She's a ballet dancer. So she would be able to run some dance classes and maybe do some choreography if we put on any shows or anything. I just think she'd be able to do a really good job teaching people stuff, specifically dance. I also think that since this is an adult only camp, I don't think that the counselors necessarily need to be all that responsible for other people. I was more so focusing on what they could bring to the table for the camp and kind of pull double duty counselors and other stuff. So Nessa is our resident performing arts girly. The final one I chose is, unsurprisingly to anyone who knows me well, you know that The Martian is one of my favorite books of all time, as well as one of my favorite movies of all time. So of course I had to get Mark Watney in here. I figured he is a botanist, so he can run a greenhouse. We can have a fully sustainable camp. We can do all greens, all vegetables, not just greens. Or at least most of the food can be sourced from the greenhouse or from local farmers, and that can be Mark Watney's job. And then if we have any science-y activities, classes, whatever, he can be in charge of those too. Next is camp song. Pick a quote from a book to be your camp song. I totally cheated with this one. So I have this book called Get Happy that is one of those, self-help books, I guess, kind of. But I was trying to find something about like nostalgia, but I couldn't think of anything that was in any of my books. So I opened this, and I only got to page 6, but this is my quote at the bottom of page 6 here. It says, "Your body is not a temple, it's an amusement park. Enjoy the ride." It's written in the book, so I'm counting it, but it's technically a quote from Anthony Bourdain. It's not even like this book's author wrote it, so that's definitely cheating a little bit. But I don't care because it's just a book tag and it's not that serious. It is not that serious. Next is camp activity. For this, pick an activity from a book that you are going to do at your camp. This is why I said Off-Broadway would be a good one. So, this book, Saving Juliet, is a YA. It is about a girl, and she is performing Romeo and Juliet with a theater company, and she ends up transported into, somehow, Shakespeare's Verona. They were putting on Romeo and Juliet, so we're putting on Romeo and Juliet. We're doing a play, because the theater kid never leaves. Our last prompt is Camp Book Essential. At camp, you have no internet, and phone service can be not so great. So what new to you book are you bringing to camp? This was tough because I couldn't decide if I wanted a big book that would take up a lot of my time, or if I wanted a small book that I could read like in between doing all the other activities. And I decided to go with the latter because if I'm going to go to a camp, I'm going to do the activities I'm paying for, you know? So I chose Songs by Ursa Major, Songs in Ursa Major, by Emma Brody. I was thinking too fast, my brain wasn't keeping up. I was thinking too fast, my mouth wasn't keeping up with my brain. I chose Songs in Ursa Major because it just feels like a good summer book. It feels like a good book to sit outside and read in the heat and by the ocean. We're on an island, right, in Florida, so I don't know, it just felt like a good one. It is about Jane Quinn and Jessie Reed, who are rising singer-songwriters, reaching the peak of their career, and then later in life, Jane releases an album called Songs in Ursa Major, and it's kind of about the background of that. That is my camp, my again but better camp. We're going to put on a Shakespeare play. We are going to ride our bikes around and just generally overall have a good time reclaiming our childhoods and healing our inner children. If you are watching this and you want to do this, you should do it. I will put the questions in the description. I will put Jessie's original video at the end in an end card. Or if you want to just answer it like in the comments. This was really fun. Thank you, Jessie, for doing this. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more from me and hear me yap incessantly about books some more. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will see you next time. Love you. Bye.